What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show powered by BetUS. Today went a lot better than a couple days ago as the Blazers, fresh off their 4 for 42 shooting night from 3, fresh off a couple injuries to DeAndre Ayton before the game and Anfernee Simons early on in this game, shoot a whopping 18 for 32 and shock the Minnesota Timberwolves, the favorite to win the Blazers NBA Cup pool. The Blazers win their first NBA Cup game, 122-108 in what was the funnest game of the year after the most brutal game of the year. And of course, what was brutal about that game is we didn't have Eric on that post-game show, but Eric is here to break down a fun game. Eric, you showed up for the right post-game stream because this is going to be a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I'm already being threatened in chat.
Who's threatening you in chat? I have not seen these threats.
Apparently someone's going to burn our podcast down if I talk bad about any player. So
Burn our podcast down.
Good thing I'm not going to.
Good luck on burning the internet. Somebody asking about my eye. Okay, I'll just get this out of the way. So you remember Friday, right? We drank alcohol on the post-game show, all that stuff, Eric?
Yeah.
Let's just say I drank a little bit after that. Didn't feel too well. Threw up a little bit. And that's why my eyes messed up, all right? That's why my eyes all red and looking weird. But yeah, I'm good to go. I'm good to go, man. This was
throw up in your eye?
No, I didn't. But I it's bursting. I had circles around my eyes, that sort of thing. It's pretty violent. Let's not go into that though. Let's talk about something that doesn't make you want to throw up, which was this game. This game, the Blazers finally play a game that doesn't make you want to throw up. This was the most fun game I can remember in years, Eric. Of course, you come out and you make like every 3-point shot. That's going to be fun. I mean, you're talking about the team that was the worst offense last year and the worst offense so far this year, going against the Timberwolves, who were the best defense last year. And I don't know where they ranked this year, but they're still a really good defense. And we saw this defense shut down the Blazers a couple of games ago. And the Blazers come out and put 122 on the board, 60 in the first half. They actually have a good third quarter and outscore the Timberwolves 33-21. And then down the stretch, the Timberwolves start to make a little bit of a run. Their defense ratchets up. And normally we see the Blazers offense kind of fold under pressure, especially when they don't have that many shot creators. They didn't have Ayton. They didn't have Anfernee Simons in this game. And they weather the storm. Like, this game was literally the opposite of everything that's been wrong with the Portland Trail Blazers. Like, everything that they struggle with just didn't happen tonight. And they looked great. I mean, just the rhythm to the offense, the way they moved the ball. They had 30 assists on 43 made shots, Eric, which is fantastic. Jeremy Grant had 8 assists. Delano Banton had some really nice passes. I mean, Jeremy Grant was throwing lob passes in this one. This was just a wild game, and of course, given the injuries in this game, there's going to be some narratives that we're going to have to talk about on this post-game show regarding certain veterans, but I just want to celebrate just this team, the way they played their asses off. Like, this is what real effort looks like. The defense, they had a successful trap at one point in this game, which you don't normally see from this team. I mean, literally, I could not think of a better, more perfect first NBA Cup game. Eric, what are your thoughts on this one, man? Because this one was a lot of fun to watch.
When you have a winning player that makes plays all over the court on both ends, and he's moving well and setting good screens, always in the right spot on defense, protecting the rim, and also not dropping 10 feet behind the screen. It's amazing what you can do, right, Tori? You're setting screens to free up your penetrators. You're not standing right around the free throw line, so when Scoot drives, you're standing right in his way with your defender on his drives, and he has to navigate through traffic. You're always in the right spot on offensive rebounds and for lobs and stuff like that. Man, it's amazing how just one player can completely change the whole kind of outlook of a team. And I think Robert Williams has done that. I mean, obviously it didn't really matter that much last game, no matter what he would have done probably weren't winning that game. But in a game like this, where he comes in and completely controls both ends of the court, and we know how good he is defensively, but man, he's providing a boost on the offensive end as well.
That is what center play is supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
That is what center play is supposed to look like. The Blazers and their fans have been starved of that for a while. Because Nurk, after his injury, we defended him, but he wasn't like an athletic rim-protecting center. Wasn't much of a shot blocker anymore, right? Like, wasn't much of a lob target. We know that. And then the Blazers bring in DeAndre Ayton, and Ayton's supposed to be that guy. But he's not a rim protector at all, and he rolls to 15 feet because he loves shooting mid-range jumpers. But you look at this team tonight, they had 2 rim protecting centers in the game at all times. Both guys can pass, and both guys set good screens. Donovan Clingan sets great screens. Both guys hustle play their ass off, and you don't have to question whether they're playing hard or not. And they defend, man, and that's part of the reason why this game was a better defensive game for the Blazers, because they had an actual presence at the rim for 48 minutes. And it allows guys to be a little bit more aggressive on the perimeter. And Robert Williams, even at time, played at the level of the screen. There's a couple times they mixed up their pick and roll coverage, which they've been playing Ayton and Clingan all season in like a freaking 20-foot drop off screens and just leaving whoever's getting screened out there on an island to die. And Robert Williams has been phenomenal since returning. That is winning basketball. We talk about those little things all the time. We talk about winning players winning basketball. This is a perfect example of the type of basketball we're talking about, because it's Robert Williams, but also Eric. Denny Avdia's best game as a Portland Trailblazer. 3 for 6 from 3. He only goes 4 for 10 from the field, but he gets to the line 6 times, has 5 assists, plays really, really good defense. I mean, he was really, really good, man. Robert Williams, 9 for 10 off the bench, 19 points. Scoot Henderson, 6 for 9, 2 for 2 from 3, has 3 steals. He's flying around defensively. This whole team was flying around defensively. Clingan had a steal and a block early on in this game. Kamara has 2 steals, has 3 assists, some really nice passes. This just looked like a connected team that was all playing hard, and you even had Jeremy Grant pressuring Julius Randle into an 8-second violation. And this is what effort is supposed to look like. This is what guys doing the little things and playing hard is supposed to look like. This is what winning basketball looks like. It helps when you make a bunch of threes, but also, I don't think it's a surprise with the ball moving much better in this game than last game. The guys make more threes. When you don't touch the ball for forever, it's really hard to get a rhythm. And it's really hard to not touch the ball for 3-4 straight minutes out there on the floor, and then the ball's swung to you and you're supposed to shoot a 3. It's easier if it's all in the flow of things. And this team was just flowing, moving the ball. This is the type of basketball this team needs to play with. And it doesn't need veterans to play that way.
Yeah, so right before this game, I finally had a chance to watch Sunday's game. Yeah, I know I'm torturing myself by going back and watching that, but for those that don't know, had some power, internet, phone outages in my area on Sunday. Couldn't do anything. I had to drive away from my house just to message Tori to tell him that I couldn't be on the show or whatever. I listened to a little bit on the radio, but like in my car, but that was about my extent of what I heard from the game. And while I was watching, one thing was like painfully sticking out to me in that game. And that was at least 3 players on every offensive possession were just standing at the 3-point line, not moving at all, just standing there. And including many times Anfernee Simons was just standing like 5 feet behind the 3-point line with his defender up on him. Like, you can't play offense just standing around. And that's one thing that Klingen's starting to learn this a little bit. He does it at times. He's not there yet, but eventually I think he will be. But that's the one thing that jumped out to me then watching this game tonight was just how much Robert Williams moves even when he's not involved in the play. And it makes the defense shift a little bit. And it opens up lanes, and it It makes defenders have to tag him, dropping through the lane or cutting. And if you penetrate then, and there's a guy who took a step off his man to watch where Robert Williams is going, you kick out to that guy, and the corner is wide open for a three. And so many times that happened where there was just a little bit more movement with the off-ball guys tonight, and it led to an open shot because we were not just standing around where it was easily defended. The Grizzlies, man, they had such an easy time playing defense because all they had to do was guard the ball and maybe a occasional screener, and they could completely take us out of our offense. And this game in particular, I just felt like people were looking to move the ball. It became contagious at a point, I think. Like Delano Banton came in and I thought had one of his better stretches of his career simply because he was looking more for the pass. And when you do that, then it opens up when he gets kick out threes, he's a little more open because other guys have gotten hot and shot the ball, and then they can't focus on the ball handler as much. So I think it helped him score too at times in this game. So I don't know. I just really like the movement and stuff. And it baffles me when you watch that game because I heard all the talk I wanted to see for myself, like the effort issues and stuff. And honestly, when you just stand around on offense, it's really hard to then be flying around on defense and be super aggressive on defense like you need to be. And I think that's been one of the main problems with this Chauncey coached tenure is that there's just no consistency in the way he wants to play versus the way we actually play. And then you can't expect them to run and create advantages and then fly around on defense and be scrappy when you have the least aggressive offensive sets and you're not doing anything, like you're not getting all the team involved and stuff like that. I mean, we started to talk about this towards the end of Stott's time here, where it became like too reliant on Dame pick and rolls and people standing in the corners and stuff and not really getting involved in the offense. So I really think this is how they have to play, and this is what we've been begging for years on these shows, is just have ball movement, like play as a team, move around, don't just stand there and watch one person try to create. Because you know how many times that last game we just had either Jeremy or Anfernee or Scoot or Denny just have to create out of nothing, and that's just not winning basketball. So in my opinion, if the Blazers played like this more often, we would have many more games like this. Like we're obviously not going to shoot that well all the time, especially with our shooting. But you can definitely be in a lot more games, and you're not going to get blown out like we did against Memphis if we played this style. And that's all we've been asking for is something where we can say this is the identity of our team. We might lose a game, but at least we were flying around. At least we were making plays on defense, protecting the rim. And then on the other end, we were moving the ball. Everyone got shots. They just didn't fall, right? We just missed shots tonight. That's fine if it's games like this and we went, 10 for 42 or whatever, or 10 for 32 instead of 18 for 32. That's fine. But this game in particular, I just felt it was a good mix of all of it. And hopefully we see that again tomorrow night.
The thing is, they go 10 for 32, and they're at least in this game in the fourth quarter, right? You're not losing by 45. And people just love to look at the box score and look at 3-point shots made, 3-point shots missed, and come up with a judgment as in, oh, who can blame the coach? The team didn't shoot well. What do you want to, how can you blame Chauncey when they shot 4 for 42? But it's all about the process that goes into the shots that you get. And it's all about, there is a such thing as a rhythm offensively and a flow to an offense that allows guys to get more comfortable. And it's not necessarily the easiest thing to explain or show someone, but there's a lot of truth to that. Also, when you're stagnant and you're bricking bad shots, long misses, or turning over the ball, it leads to a lot of fast break offense for the other team, or they can push the pace, you get cross-matched, and then you're playing out of mismatches defensively all the time. It leads to bad defensive nights as well. So, it can compound itself, but it's a lot easier to keep guys engaged when they're all playing off of each other. And you could see the momentum the Blazers had this entire game due in part to their offense. They're playing off each other. They're looking for each other. They're trying to make the right read, but also they're moving. And I've been very critical of Chauncey with his half-court sets and him not having enough structure with his half-court offense. And part of the thing is if you have a bunch of guys that know how to move and will consistently do it, you can play out of motion. You can play out of less offensive structure in the half court. But when you have the issues that you're having, you gotta come up with more structure, more sets to be able to actually manufacture good shots out of a set offense. Because when you're not in a set offense, it's a bunch of guys standing around watching one guy dribble the ball. And a lot of people will criticize the person dribbling the ball and they just focus on, oh, this player took 9-10 dribbles in a row and just isolating so much. But it's also on other guys to move, set screens, etc. Like you talked about Robert Williams. He's much more active offensively as a mover than DeAndre Ayton. It got him at least three alley-oop dunks. But also
drop-off,
yeah, drop-offs, and it draws defenders. And there's a massive difference between that and DeAndre Ayton that just wants to play 15 to 17 feet away from the rim and brick all these mid-range shots. But, when DeAndre Ayton hits some mid-range shots, it looks so good. And if you watch some highlights of DeAndre Ayton, it looks so good. And that's why people overrated him before he ended up being a Portland Trailblazer. They'd go watch DeAndre Ayton highlights, and, man, those highlights look good. Look at those mid-range shots. Look at those turnarounds. He looks so skilled. But on a game-in, game-out basis, does he do the little things? And that's one of the little things as a big man, is rolling hard to the rim and punishing pick-and-roll coverage that doesn't take away the lob. You got some guys on this team that can throw lobs. I mean, Jeremy Grant freaking threw lobs in this game. That's how well Robert Williams was rolling to the rim. So, man, it's I don't want to turn the stream into, this is why DeAndre Ayton needs to go and is not the long-term answer. But it's a pretty compelling case for... If you want to keep Robert Williams and you want to hope he can stay healthy because you think he's good for this young team and good for these guards and good for the culture, I can 100% get behind that. 100%. Okay? It shouldn't be both Robert Williams or DeAndre Ayton because you drafted Donovan Clingan. And Donovan Clingan got the start today, pick up some fouls, but he fit right into the defense today. You know, he contributed. He had some good moments of rim protection. He set great screens. He does the little things, and he doesn't need the ball. Like he had a alley-oop dunk, right? Like he fits in. DeAndre Ayton does not fit into the style of play that the Blazers played with tonight. He just doesn't because his effort is inconsistent. His screens aren't good, and he doesn't move offensively. He doesn't move around. Statistically, there was a Rip City Reddit thread today, and I don't remember the exact stats, but basically Scoot Henderson is much more efficient and a better finisher at the rim without DeAndre Ayton on the floor than he is with DeAndre Ayton on the floor. And you look at today's game without DeAndre Ayton, Scoot, it helps he goes 2 for 2 from 3, but he's 6 for 9 from the field. He gets to the rim, he finishes, had a couple really nice passes to Robert Williams, looked much more comfortable out there. And at some point you have to wonder, man, is the way DeAndre Ayton the way he plays basketball, is that detrimental to the rest of the team? And that's kind of the conversation we've been forced to have in regards to, yeah, you got some vets. Yeah, they have some offensive skill. But do they fit into what you're trying to build? Are they helping you develop your young players? Are they creating an environment for your young players just with what they do on and off the floor that can cultivate growth with them? And then you look at a stat like that where Scoot is much better without DeAndre Ayton on the floor. Yes, it's a small sample size, but it really makes you wonder. And then you see the things that happened tonight. And I agree with you, Eric. That is the difference between Robert Williams and DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, to be fair, I would like to see a little bit bigger sample size before I start saying, oh, definitively so-and-so is better.
But you can just see it. If it's something that isn't backed up by the eye test, then I'm sitting here saying small samples. But it's you can see the difference.
Yeah, I just comparing these two games since I watched them back-to-back, Denny, Scoot, Anfernee, Jeremy, so many times just going one-on-one against a defender that's in front of them, nowhere to go, nowhere to pass to, no movement off ball to have the defense have to tag him, just nothing. And then this game, you look at almost every one of our drives, there's someone cutting or moving around the perimeter. The ball was moving once no one was really holding it for too long. And so like I think you need that ISO shot creation pick and roll aspect of it, but you also need to play uh, like this off ball as well. And I think if you mix those two, we have several players, and I'm thinking of Denny and Scoot in particular. I just think it just makes them play basketball. You know, like it's just they know what to do if it's easier for them. You know, like if they have options when they drive, they don't have to force up a shot that they don't really want to take. Like I saw Denny in particular, man. How many times has he driven into the lane? And normally, if he has a cutter or something, he would love to pass the ball, but he gets stuck, and then he has to turn around and shoot some 5 foot arcing shot over the defender because there's no one else moving, and he has nothing, no other options but to shoot it. So if you have guys that actually provide options for him, that I just think it makes him play so much better, and that was evident tonight.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about with like him seeming uncomfortable in the offense, the way the Blazers run their offense, and the way the Blazers play basketball. I've always said I think Denny Avdia will look much better if the offense is flowing, if the ball is moving, if guys are cutting, guys are playing off of each other, right? And today he looked as comfortable as ever, and the Blazers were playing that way, and he contributed to that, and it seemed like he fed off that.
Yeah, and it just makes me wonder all the time why, like, why does Chauncey not preach that all the time? Like, I don't get it, man. Like, why is he okay with our offense being so stagnant most of the time? Like,
Yeah.
and when we have overwhelming evidence, when people move, it's good. When there's more structure too, when we run sets, they usually produce a good shot. Whether we hit it or not is another story. But like, the team seems to be successful running any kind of offense with any kind of movement at all. So why do we always default back to these games where we don't move at all the entire game? We just have multiple people standing around. I don't understand that. The ball watching and the over dribbling and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't get why we do that. And people are going to say, oh, well, we didn't have Anfernee tonight. Well, why can't Anfernee play in an offense like this? Why can't Anfernee get a chance to play with Robert Williams setting these picks instead of DeAndre Ayton? Like we just talked about, you mentioned the thing with Scoot. Like, I'm not saying it's for sure going to work or and deserves it 100% because he hasn't played well either. But like I would like to see Anfernee in an offense that where players aren't just standing around off ball as well too before just completely giving up on the dude.
Well, also, it's like, okay, if you're going to blame the players, it's on Chauncey Billups to hold those players if they're going against the way the Blazers need to be playing. It's on Chauncey to hold that accountable. And we see Grant have games where he's just super selfish, doesn't look to pass the ball, shoots some awful shots, right? But he plays 40 minutes, and the Blazers lose by like 15 and can't do anything offensively. And we see games where like Ant has those moments as well. He plays 36 minutes. And it's like, okay, Chauncey, hold that accountable. You don't have to play these guys crazy minutes. You don't have to play. You can sub somebody out of your rotation that's on your note card or your sheet if they're not doing the right things, especially when you're losing a bunch of games anyway. I think it's easier to hold players accountable when you're losing a bunch of games because, listen, if guys aren't playing the right way, it's just going to cause you to lose no matter what. So you don't have to be held hostage by any one player playing a certain way. And that's where the criticisms of Chauncey come in. It's like, okay, do you just not know how to teach this? Like, you let these guys like run your team essentially, and you just sit back and don't do anything about it. And then you lose these guys, and it looks much better. And it's like, okay, why can't you cultivate that within Anfernee Simons, DeAndre Ayton, Jeremy Grant? But you see Jeremy Grant today, and he fit in. It was almost just because like everybody else, the way everybody else was playing around him, he passed the ball more. He hustled more defensively. He still had some really bad shots, but at least he like fit in. So it's just like, why is this such a flash in the pan? Because we'll have a night here or there where it looks like this, and it's like, why is it so rare? And that's where people that want Chauncey Billups gone, it's like they want a coach that can hopefully come in and get this type of game, or at least just this style of play, because you might not make 56% of your threes. People just want a coach that can get this style of play out of this team consistently, and then if they're struggling to play out of freelance, has some better half-court sets to fall back on offensively.
Yeah, and so for people saying that Ant wasn't in there tonight, do you really think Delano Banton is less selfish than Anfernee Simons? Like prior to this game? Like, if he can learn how to play in an offense like this, I don't understand, like Tori's saying, if Chauncey's hammering home that it needs to be like this when we play, why anyone can't conform to that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, all the criticisms of Chauncey are about the style of play and the style of team. And it's like you're missing guys. You're less talented, but you do a better job of playing the right way. And that's the thing, is trying to play the right way is not dependent upon your talent. And that's where I get, that's where I disagree with a lot of people, is when they're discussing, like, man, what could you want Chauncey Billups to do? Like, look at his roster out there on the floor. It's like, look at how bad they shot. It's like, we shouldn't analyze the coaching of this team based on 3-point shooting results. If they shot 4 for 42 tonight, but moved the ball better and got some of these good looks, like, it would have been more acceptable. But here's the thing. It's like, when they play with this level of flow, they never shoot that bad. They always have their worst shooting nights when they're super stagnant and can't get good looks. So the process is hurting their shooting, and the process falls back on Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know everyone's just going to dismiss this, but Anfernee Simons has multiple games this year where he, including the last game against the Grizzlies, and including the beginning of this game tonight, where he starts off the game looking to pass almost every time and is almost hesitant to shoot the ball at all until he has to. And it's not working out, obviously. But, I mean, I don't think it was necessarily bad before tonight. Tonight, before he got hurt tonight. It's not like we were losing by 20 when he got hurt or something. I think it was tied or we were down 1 or something. Like, we were playing okay.
Yeah, it was so early. It's
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, it's not like you can take anything from this one.
I know, but you do have to wonder if there's something with Anfernee Simons that maybe holds back the team from playing this way. And I don't know what it is, because he pounds the air out of the ball, but it's like nobody else is moving. So either nobody trusts him to, like, make the right play, or everybody just wants to sit back and watch him pound the ball. But, like, that's on Chauncey to hold that stuff accountable and get guys to start moving more. And that's, I don't know. It's just so strange how, like, I understand it with Ayton, just because of the way he moves offensively, and then his defense is just extremely overrated. He's not a good defender, right? It's just with Ant, like, yeah, he's missing shots, but when he's on the floor, like, the team just doesn't move. And correlation doesn't equal causation, but you do have to wonder, after the team looks like this, man, is there something there?
You know that scoot back cut where Robert Williams hit him for the lay-in?
Yeah.
Really nice play in this game.
Yeah.
In the first few minutes, Anfernee had a back cut. Sharp had the ball up top. Anfernee was wide open, and Sharp missed him. So he was trying to move. I just think the movement overall was better. And I would like to see, as Aeromancer pointed out, Anfernee played 352 minutes this year. 297 of them have been with DeAndre Ayton. So if we're going to give Scoot that, the Ayton versus not playing with Ayton argument, I think we need to
it's not
give others that.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not even an argument. It's statistically there. So
no, I know.
The argument, of course, there is it just too small of a sample size to actually read anything into? But I don't know. This team is strange, man. This team is weird. Because part of it was like with how bad they got embarrassed in this being an NBA Cup game. Part of me felt like, man, like they're gonna they're going to bounce back. Like, they're going to look like a completely different team. You know, they have this practice yesterday that was more so just airing things out and having a discussion and addressing the elephant in the room, according to Robert Williams. And it's just like, okay, after that, are you surprised this team played hard and did all this stuff? No, but like that's the problem, is it's just a flash of the pan. And it will normally come after they get so embarrassed that it's like, all right, well, we have to start playing harder. We have to change things up. And then they do it. And then they're happy about it. And then they fall back into their old habits under Chauncey Billups. And it's just that roller coaster where they'll have a game like this, people will get their hopes up, like, this is the way we need to play, and then it will fall back. And I'm tired of riding that roller coaster with Chauncey Billups, to be quite honest with you. But I don't know, man, like, how much of it is the roster? Because I do think that when you have guys that don't play super hard or give up a lot defensively, it has a compounding effort. So, like, if you have one guy like that and a bunch of guys that hustle, those guys will lift him up. And I feel like that's what happened today with these young guys and Jeremy Grant. But
Grant played really good D tonight, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, when you have three of those players, it's more likely to bring everybody else down, right? And that's kind of how I feel about DeAndre Ayton, Jeremy Grant, and Anfernee Simons. Is when those three guys play, they don't play as hard defensively as these young guys try to, and it almost feels like it brings those guys' effort level down. Those guys don't fly around as much because ultimately, think about it. If you're Tamani Kamara and you're out there on the floor and you're flying around defensively, but like you force an extra pass because you rotated out really well, closed out really well, and the extra pass nobody's rotating to him and everybody's just kind of standing around. Next time down the floor, why are you going to rotate out as hard? What's the point? If you stop your guy, but the next guy, you don't feel like he's maybe giving 100% effort, he's not defending well enough, and he's giving up buckets, that's going to bring you down. That's going to bring you down. But when if you fly out and you hustle and you see the next guy like fly through the passing lane, get a tip, and then the ball swings to somebody else and somebody's locking him up one-on-one defensively, that has like I don't know the right word for it, but that builds you up defensively. Because you feel like you and everybody else on the floor more on a string, and the energy level defensively is contagious. It's just contagious. So, you know, you don't want to be the guy to make a lapse. You don't want to be the guy to fall asleep when everybody else is busting their ass, right? And I think that's why you see Jeremy Grant playing better defense today. So that's the thing. And that's why I've gotten frustrated with Chauncey not holding guys accountable when they're lacking defensively, is like it brings everybody else down. And I don't think it's good for these young players to see. And I think that's part of why this isn't just a coincidence where you don't have Ayton and you don't have Ant for the majority of this game, and all of a sudden these guys are flying around defensively better than they have all year. And all of a sudden these guys are like feeding off that and then like playing as a team and just feeling really good about themselves. I think some of it starts on the defensive end. I don't put all the offensive stuff on Ant because I think Ayton has a big part of kind of killing their offense. But also, it's like if Ant's on the floor with Grant playing like this and everybody else playing like this, I think he probably has a better shooting night, you know. And there's just too many moments where this offense, it's like guys defaulting to Ant, and maybe it's not Ant's fault, but it's like instead of Tamani going and making a play because he's playing in a lineup with like Scoot, Sharp, Denny, and Klingon, it's like Denny finds Ant and just gives the ball up to Ant, and everybody stands around. And then Ant has to make something happen. And then, you know, people blame Ant at the end of a shot clock for, like, trying to go one-on-one while everybody's standing around. I think part of it is I think Ant could do a better job of giving up the ball instead of, like, isolating for too long. I think part of it is guys need to not defer to Anfernee Simons and Jeremy Grant the way that they do. Part of it's on the half-court sets need to have a little bit more structure, so that these guys actually can like run some stuff and know what to do and just have like clear reads built into the offense instead of like trying to figure out what to do on the fly. And part of it has to do with Chauncey holding guys accountable, doing a better job of that when they're not moving, when they're not playing off of each other, when they're, you know, dribbling the ball too much, and shot selection. Like there's so many things that go into that were better today, and that's why they beat the freaking Timberwolves. That's why they beat the Timberwolves. That's why they dominated. They literally dominated a team that almost went to the finals last year. They dominated this Timberwolves team tonight. And they were short 2 of their 3 highest paid players.
Yeah, and to me, this is where coaching comes in, and I've seen all the social media arguments. I try to stay out of them outside of our group chat, Tori, but the coaching doesn't matter, and what is a different coach going to do? A different coach would have their players have a standard to where this type of movement is expected of them every game, not every 10 games or whatever it is under Chauncey, you know, like this is what is expected of them every game. And a good coach would make sure it happens. And if not, those players would not be put in a position to have the ball a lot. Like if you're saying, oh, Anfernee would just dribble it out in this situation and we would go back to sucking again. Well, if the other players are moving and are open and Anfernee's doing that, then you sit his ass down, right? And that's the problem. And I think this is why we can speculate all we want, but I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. That's one of the elephants in the room when we talk about the meeting they had, is that there's certain players that aren't held accountable on this team, and there's certain players that seem to be held over accountable. And unless you're requiring everyone and there's clear expectations and everyone has kind of a defined role of what they need to do on the court, and we have a situation where if you're not moving off ball, you're gonna get benched. If you're not passing the ball, you're gonna get benched. If you're doing that stuff, but instead we have crap like last year where Chauncey literally told us that he needs Jeremy to just ISO and take bad shots because we don't have any other offense. What? Like that's literally what Chauncey tried to tell us last year, right? So like I don't have any faith in this coaching staff that this is something that is sustainable or whatever. And I'm sorry that's negative, but like I would love for this to be the norm. It should be the norm. It has to be the norm, especially on a team that is growing and trying to learn how to play the game of basketball as a team. So that's what should be expected of this team. And unfortunately, I don't trust this coaching staff to coach it regularly.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. What's chat saying right now? Because I'm like finishing up this bottom ticker. What's the pulse on chat, Eric?
Oh, the pulse in chat is definitely that Anfernee sucks and he needs to go, and Ayton needs to go as well for most people. So yeah.
I mean, I think Ayton needs to go more than anyone. This is why we didn't want DeAndre Ayton. Robert Williams, I wanted to wait because, you know, he's our player of the game, and I was making a graphic for that. But Robert Williams is a much better player than DeAndre Ayton. He's a much better player. But if you just look at things statistically, like, oh, he's not statistically better. And if you just watch highlights, it's like, oh, well, DeAndre Ayton's highlights are going to look sexier, right? In terms of actually helping your team win, which is what I care about when judging who's better, Robert Williams is just simply a much better player than DeAndre Ayton. He's a much better defender. He's a much better passer. He's much more active. He plays with energy. He's better on he's better getting contested rebounds. He's a better screener. And the way he plays lifts the energy of this team. It's like a rich man's version of Ed Davis. Remember how Ed Davis would come in the game and just spark this team? In some games, like some games, the team would start flat, and Ed Davis would come in and just battle 3 dudes for a board and get an and one putback, and it would spark this team. I feel like Robert Williams has the same effect, man. He has the same effect. Like, he had that first game where his first shift, like, the team was looking dead, And he comes in and has like 13 points in 11 minutes. He's not even a scorer, but it's just him being active. And this team looks noticeably better with him subbing into the game. But of course, they're going to play DeAndre Ayton a ton of minutes, so they have to play Klingon next to Robert Williams, so the spacing is just god-awful offensively, and then our offense looks like crap. But then, without Ayton, okay, you get Robert Williams more minutes. He's better than Ayton. You get Klingon more minutes, and Klingon can be serviceable right now as a rookie. And you don't have to play those two together. And wow, would you look at that? The center play looks noticeably better, and both guys are playing their asses off, and the rest of the team is playing their asses off. As I said, effort is contagious. And you never have to wonder if Robert Williams III is playing hard, or trying, or cares.
No. And that's all we want, right?
It's beautiful, man. And I know, I've been saying, oh, they should have traded him before they ever played him. They should have flipped him right after they traded Drew Holiday to the Celtics and got Robert Williams III in a rebuild. And I know I said, okay, this year you're approaching it like you're trying to play Robert Williams into some trade value and trade him at the deadline and see what you can get. I mean, the more he plays like this, the more you can get for him, and he does have the injury issues. But he is what a veteran looks like that can help your rebuild, can help your young guys, can help your culture. That is what a good veteran for a rebuild looks like. And honestly, at this point, if they say, "Oh, we want to trade Ayton for anything we can get," we just trade him. We trade him for freaking Ben Simmons. We trade him for an expiring at this point. But we want to keep Robert Williams because we think he's good for this locker room. We think he's good for this team, good for trying to build the culture and the identity that we want as a team, and good for our young players, a pick-and-roll big man that sets solid screens and then rolls hard to the rim, a good lob target, and, talks defensively, is active defensively. I can fully get behind that, Eric. I can fully get behind that. And if they think that's more valuable than trading him for a late first-round pick in this year's draft, I can't even argue with that.
Until it gets hurting and knock on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to hope he doesn't get hurt, right? And here's the thing. Yeah. Because of his injury issues, you're not going to get back as much trade value as you probably should for a player that is capable of doing the things that he can defensively, as well as his energy buckets and that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So his trade value is lowered because of that. So you kind of take on that risk knowing that, okay, that's going to hurt his trade value. So, yeah, we can keep him because it's not like we could get back as much as we could if he was somebody that didn't have these question marks. And then you just hope he can stay healthy for you, and you can play him and Donovan Klingon 24 minutes a game. They played, let's see here, they played Robert Williams 25 minutes today. They played Klingon 21. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's exactly what the minutes should be.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be all for that. I get worried about Robert. He went to the locker room in this game.
He got hit in the face.
Yeah, luckily he was okay. It's just, I think it's one of those things. It's like watching Tua play quarterback right now. Every time something happens, you're just worried about it. Yeah, so that's my main. That's the only hesitation I have of completely agreeing. So yeah, I'm cool with that too. If they truly think even if he's injured, he's still more valuable to us. He seems to be Klingon was interviewed before the game and mentioned how much Robert Williams has helped him out in terms of just teaching him the game of basketball and stuff like that. It's a lot better than having another guard that's making over $20 million as that mentor. Robert Williams is making $12 million or something. So
yeah,
it's a little easier to keep him as a mentor than someone else that's making a lot more money. So yeah, I'm cool with that. But that's also another reason why we never wanted 8 and 2 is because of his contract makes him tough to trade. Yep. So it's tough.
Yep. We got to think. Let's see here. We got a lot of member message donations, gifted memberships. We got to think. Shout out to Chris S. member for 45 months. Says, we moved the ball. We set good screens. We fought on both ends. Wish we could watch this kind of basketball every week. No more 8 and please. 100%. Thank you, Chris, for being a member. if the Blazers lost 50 to 60 games but played more like this, fans wouldn't tune out as much. They just wouldn't. This is entertaining. This is fun. They lose this game, and I would come here on the post-game show and say, listen, man, I had fun watching the Blazers tonight. I don't want to pull my hair out.
Like last game?
Yeah. Like, they come out and play like this, they might beat that Grizzlies team by 45.
Last game does not happen. Like, even if they lose, there's no way they lose by 40 if they play like this. You know?
Everything just looks different. That's why I hate look, they made their threes today and they didn't last game. It's so much more than that.
This is funny, though. Lowest NBA percentage in a game this season. Last game, 4 for 42, 9.5%. Highest in any NBA game this season tonight. Blazers, 18 to 32, 56.3%.
Could you imagine being like, let's say we were running Timberwolves Uprise, and you're looking at this Blazers team going into this game like they can't shoot. They were like worse in the league. They shot 4 for 42 from 3, and then they go out and shoot this percentage.
I know. If they have to be just saying in the locker room like that was the luckiest they'll ever be, we're gonna smoke them tomorrow.
They got really good looks.
No, I know.
Tamani, I feel like all Tamani's threes are really good looks, and he's 4 for 5. Listen, he's had games where he shot like 1 for 5 or 1 for 4 on really good looks too, but I mean 4 for 5, and that's a dude that, despite the team shooting as bad as it has, going into this game, he was shooting 40% from 3. Get that guy good looks. When that guy gets good looks, he's a 40% shooter so far this year. That's a good possession if you can get him an open 3, no matter if it goes in or not right now. Shaedon Sharpe got a couple nice, clean catch-and-shoot looks and looked pretty damn comfortable today. He was 7 for 15 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. But it's just like you could just see like everybody was shooting with more confidence and playing with more confidence offensively. And I think part of it was because they weren't stuck like watching somebody try and figure out what to do, and then that guy either shoots a bad shot or passes on to the next guy who has to try and figure out what the hell to do with it.
Yeah. Tori, what would you say if you played Connor one-on-one for $1,000 and he hit like 5 threes and beat you?
He shoots it from like his waist, so I don't think he makes it comfortable, and I am not letting him. I am not letting him shoot. I'm blocking that. I'm blocking that. But no, I mean that would be crazy. That'd be crazy, right? And hopefully next NBA Cup game we shoot like this, because Eric, like let's go to Vegas, bro. Let's watch this team play in Vegas. What do we have to play for? We're 4-8, right? We're not gonna make the playoffs, but we're 1-0 and we beat the best team in our pool. Like let's win our freaking pool. Let's have some fun. Let's win this pool, and then you're just in a do or die scenario. Imagine like first round, because it's a 8-team bracket and the first game is played at home, right, for the higher seed.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a fun Moda Center crowd for once. Like, still gotta win 3 games, but I mean, it's like something for this team to like actually care about, to play towards, and just hopefully this is a confidence builder, man. I mean, the crowd was given a standing ovation at the end of this game, and it's like, when was the last time these young guys or like Scoot or Kamara heard a standing ovation at the end of a game that loud in the Moda Center? Even in games we win, it's not like that.
Heck, last game we were cheering louder for a player on the other team.
Exactly. And then so we're gonna have a standing ovation. What happens next? Scoot Henderson hits maybe the most ridiculous circus shot of his career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just very fitting. Very fitting. Like, that shot was insane, by the way. But it's just like, and he's all hyped, and the whole bench is hyped. Like, this is the type of game this team needed. But they need to build on it. This can't be a flash in the pan. This can't be they showed up for a night, and they just happened to shoot the 3 ball well, and they felt good because of it and did other things. But, when they don't shoot as well, they don't do those other things. It can't be shot dependent. Okay, this needs to be something that this team builds and cultivates and captures in a bottle, and then hopefully, because they're still going to play DeAndre Ayton whenever he's healthy, but like hopefully they can figure something out with DeAndre Ayton. But that's the thing, man. It's like, it sucks because a game like this makes me hope that DeAndre Ayton doesn't play next game. And I don't like feeling that way about anybody on this team. I don't like feeling this way about anybody on this team. We wish everybody health, all that stuff. He has a sprained finger, so it's nothing serious. But it's just like, I feel like him coming back, this team doesn't play the style of basketball with him on the floor. It just doesn't. And that's unfortunate. If they could figure out a way to play this basketball with him on the floor, then I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I just feel like they do not play this brand of basketball with DeAndre Ayton on the floor. And that's why you got to move him. That's why you got to move him. And that's part of the reason why, like last season, even when he was playing well, I didn't really fully buy into it because it was like, oh, he's making a bunch of mid-range jumpers. But how's the team playing with him? What's the style of play with him on the floor? And that's why the deadline, I traded him for an expiring contract last year. And people thought that was crazy.
Where does mid-range shot go?
I mean, he's worked on threes instead, which I guess is a good thing, but he still barely shoots them. You know what I mean? And it's still super flat, so I don't know how good he could shoot. But it's just like, I want to watch Robert Williams and Donovan Clingan as our centers.
Yeah. Well, about an hour ago, Casey Holdahl had an update, said Anfernee Simons had a battery of tests after experiencing shortness of breath in the first quarter. Initial tests came back normal, but sounds like he'll have more testing done tomorrow.
That's kind of scary.
So he's probably out tomorrow. I'm imagining if he's having tests done for respiratory issues, so probably going to keep him out. So
Yeah,
all of you in
hopefully
chat
he's
will get their wish in terms of not watching him play.
At the end of the day, we don't wish anybody to deal with injury. We don't, that's something that nobody should do. You're kind of just a crappy person if you wish injury on any players or wish them to go through anything. Respiratory issues sound serious. So hopefully it's not anything serious. Okay? Hopefully he's all right. Hopefully, I don't know what it was. Hopefully he got hit in the lung or something and it weakened his lung. I don't freaking know what he could be dealing with, right? But hopefully he's all right.
I saw him holding his stomach weird in that Grizzly game, and I was like, oh, don't tell me he's got a core injury now. Like,
yeah. But if it was shortness of breath, that's not cool.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Tonight was definitely him breathing. He was like doubled over at half court. I was just like, I was watching that Grizzlies game, and I was like, does he have a freaking core injury too? Like, is this just a Blazer thing? Every Blazer's going to get it.
Yeah, hopefully not, man. No more core injuries, but I don't know, man. Like, I wish they could figure out how to get Anfernee Simons right and, like, playing the style of basketball that they played tonight. And I don't know what he's dealing with and how many games he's been dealing with it for, but, like, he just has seemed completely disinterested. In that Grizzlies game, he was completely defensively gave up on so many plays and just, like, his body language hanging his head, like it's not good.
I have to say something about that. Offensively, completely agree with you last game. When I was watching the game beforehand, I wrote down every single thing he did on defense. The entire game, 43 possessions. Not one time did I see an example of what you're talking about.
No way. Everybody else saw it.
I'll read all 43 possessions if you want.
No, but like, Eric, I think like literally everybody else saw it. I'm just baffled. Like
I went through because I wanted to mark down how many times it happened, and there was not a single time. Most of the time, he did exactly what he should have done on defense. There was a couple times he got scored on by a player that hit a shot over him, but like there were much worse players.
Specific possessions where it was like that dude quit defensively. There was one in transition. There was one with him just sitting on somebody's back, like ended up just like pushing him in the back, fouling him. Like there was
that wasn't a, so I know the play you're talking about. There was that was the play that Kamara got the ball stripped in the backcourt. Anfernee was already down on offense, and he came back and was just late into the play.
I think it was a half-court set that I'm talking about, but yeah, unless you're talking about the transition one. But it's just like even people that defended during the game
I know.
are just like commenting on plays like, oh, he gave up. I rewind it, and it's like, yeah, he gave up. Come in here, and literally everybody agrees. And I don't know, man. Like,
I think it's because he had such horrible, like he had 3 times where he fell over and just lost the ball. on
People aren't
offense.
judging. People aren't judging his defensive effort based on like he turned it over on offense, though. They're judging it off his defense.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We can go through every single play if you want to. Yeah, everyone in chat can tell me I'm making excuses or whatever. I went into that game wanting, you're not going to believe me, but I was trying to have like, okay, I want to mark this down so I know exactly what he did wrong and how many times he gave up on defense. The dude was trying on defense. I don't think he gave up on defense at all. Offensively, like I said, he just stood around most of the time, but so were three other players on there. So, yeah.
I don't know, man. I was focusing on him, and I thought there was multiple plays
Yep.
where if it was somebody else, we're blasting him.
Kamara was much worse defensively in the Grizzlies game. Kamara, that was the worst game I've ever seen Kamara play.
Effort-wise?
He was terrible defensively.
Effort-wise?
No, like just overall. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, overall, but like
DeAndre Ayton was off. Yeah.
he plays hard defensively. Like, I think part of the reason
I mean, he gave up several backdoor cuts. He fell asleep several times. Like, I don't know. That's not necessarily playing hard.
I mean, but that's just overplaying. I don't think it's necessarily falling asleep, but that's just overplaying. But like, so you're saying Anfernee Simons played harder than Toumani Camara defensively last game?
I wouldn't say anyone played harder than anyone else because the effort was bad for everyone. But I'm saying I did not see a guy who gave up defensively last game. I saw a guy who was doing what he was supposed to in the positions he was in.
I'll have to find some clips and then show you, just because I obviously see some plays differently,
Mm-hmm.
and we see some plays differently, and I don't know. I'm just surprised because I saw some plays where it was like, man, that dude is just like kind of giving up defensively, and then literally everybody else, even people that have always defended Ant, like me, because I've defended Ant a ton. Even guys that defend Ant are like, yeah, I agree. I saw those plays too, and it's just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. So once again, Kyle Venus says I'll take one bad game from Toumani. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying Toumani's bad. I'm just trying to say, like, so Toumani gets scored on multiple times in the same position, and then Anfernee gets scored on once, and I see you in group chat being like, God, he's terrible. He'll never be good on defense, stuff like that. Like, I don't know.
He is terrible defensively.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, Sirski says, Eric, are you saying Anfernee is a positive on defense? I'm saying Anfernee did not take any possessions off. He played defense. He did not give up on defense. I'm not saying he's a good defender. I'm just saying he did not give up.
there was a lot of defensive possessions where it just seemed like he was trying to go through the motions.
Okay.
Like,
In a game that we lose by 45 minutes.
I mean, but he was a big part of that.
Yeah.
Against a team where there's only one player on the floor that you could even put or should even be able to put in the same class as him of a player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because he's great defensively, not even because of like him being some great offensive player. You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of game where Anfernee Simons should outshine, and going against the types of guards he's going with, like, he shouldn't be getting scored on. Like, and here's the thing with Ant, okay? I think why I fought back against, like, he's a terrible defender is there was a lot of possessions where it did seem like he was giving effort defensively and giving up buckets, but it was like, oh, like, at least he's there. The problem is his physical tools are just really, really bad, and it makes him a really bad defender. And there's many plays where he gets scored on that you can sit there and say, like, oh, that's not his fault, but that doesn't mean he's not a bad defender.
There's also there was a few plays last game where he cut off a drive and the defender the offensive player never even got a shot off because he stayed in front of him.
I mean, but that's the thing. There's a couple plays he stayed in front is the bar that we're at.
I'm just saying there wasn't.
Like, he doesn't get blown by literally every time, but does any player in the league?
The only times he got scored on, like the one where Wells hit that like 15-foot jumper over him. He did that on 3 other Blazers that game too. Like I don't know. Like it's just
I guess I gotta go back through and look at every shot. But Raymond says Tori sounds like a hater right now. You're probably the only one saying that because everybody else is saying the opposite.
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
I've always I've always been in the middle on Anfernee Simons. Always, always. I've always defended Ant. I've always defended Ant. Ask yourself, why would I just randomly, after years of defending Ant, stop defending Ant? But I just try and call it like I see it.
I know, and
I don't have any bias for or against Ant.
that's exactly why I wanted to chart the possessions to see what you were seeing, and I did not see it at all. I did not see it.
I mean,
would love to watch this with you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like maybe watching it through rose-colored glasses a little bit. I don't know. Like there's just plays where it felt like he was completely going through the motions and not really trying to make a defensive play. Really trying to defend. And that effort is just terrible. And then you stand around, dribbling there out of the ball. We've criticized Chauncey for that. We've criticized other players for moving. But at some point, he doesn't have to dribble the ball 13 times in a row to create a shot. He can move the ball along, go set screen away, like play some basic freaking basketball.
But I think that's what happened last game is he had so many bad moments offensively that everyone just assumed his whole game was sucked and he didn't want to be here. But I don't know. I'm
not judging.
I was expecting
offense. Like
yeah.
I think I'm what?
He did not play bad defense last game. I'm
Will you ever say confident. He plays bad defense?
Yes, he's played bad defense plenty of times.
Do you think he's played solid defense this year?
Huh?
Do you think he's played solid defense this year?
No. No. The defense overall has not been great. No.
Elizabeth, I can provide specifics. I know what specifics Eric is talking about. I didn't go through and literally chart every play because I wasn't watching the game after the fact. But I can go tweet out specific clips. Yes, Eric did. Eric watched back the game after the fact and charted plays.
Well.
But I guarantee you there is plays that he charted that he thought his effort was fine, that I think his effort was bad.
And if we're going to nitpick every single defensive possession, you could do that about every single player in the league, including
I just don't think it's nitpicking.
Elite defenders.
I think you get a bit defensive about Ant.
No, I have tried to do this in a completely unbiased thing, and the fact is, you want to prove that he doesn't want to be here, and that's
I
why
don't need to prove anything that he does or doesn't. Nothing about last night proves he doesn't want to be here. Nothing on the court is ever going to prove how he feels. And he might want to be here. I don't care. I could care less. I couldn't care less is the proper phrase. Bro, I don't care about proving he doesn't want to be here. I wish he wanted to be here because we're not going to be able to trade him. Why would I want him to not want to be here? Why? It's bad for us. It's bad for this team. It's a really, really bad thing if he doesn't want to be here. Because he's going to play more like this. And the Blazers, if they ever trade him, will have to take back a Norman Powell package at best.
Yeah. But if he plays well, that wouldn't they want to... Maybe they wouldn't trade him then.
I mean, listen, he can play well, but also maybe not fit the identity they're trying to build in terms of their players, and they could get back a good package for him. He could play well, and you could still move on to Scoot and Chart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
which, for the record, I am. Whatever happens with Anfernee, trade him or keep him. Like I'm resigned to the fact like it doesn't matter either way. Like it's might be best for him to trade him at this point.
Terrence says I've been hating on Anfernee for 2 seasons. What in the world are you talking about? Even with me and Eric arguing right now, I don't even think Eric would say that. I have not been hating on Anfernee for 2 seasons. I pumped the brakes on calling him Dame 2.0 a couple of seasons ago. And I said I want to wait and see him prove it on a legitimate sample. And last season, he was good offensively. He was really good offensively. In this season, he's been bad offensively and bad defensively. And his effort doesn't look the same as it did last year, to me. That's the difference. So,
I just want to point out, okay, so it also, I mean, you mentioned the tweet, I think, last post game. I think I recall you mentioning it, that like the Blazers' top 5 returning scorers from last year are all down, both efficiency wise and points per game. And whether you want to say it's analytics or just regular counting stats, they were all down, including Scoot's points per game. Obviously Sharp.
His minutes are down too.
Yeah,
so
you can't.
It's a little less applicable to him, but yeah, go on.
You can't really say anything about Sharp. 4 or 5 games, how many ever games he's played. Yeah. Those numbers aren't going to look the same. But everyone else, Anfernee, Jeremy, Denny, all those guys. So all of them, all down, all seemingly regressing until tonight, right? If we're having this conversation before the game tonight, we could all agree that everyone on the Blazers, outside of maybe Tamani and maybe just natural improvements from year 1 to year 2 for Scoot, like you can't really say rotation player wise that many players look better than they did last year, right?
Yeah.
Before this game.
Yep.
And so to me, I still would like to see, this is an excuse for Anfernee. This is an excuse for everyone on the team, including Scoot and Sharp's development. I would like to see them in a style that plays like they did tonight on a more consistent basis before giving up on any of them or just saying they're all bad or they're all like not giving effort or whatever, because players like them, like they're all in their 20s still. Like they're not all going to regress at the same time. Like that makes no sense. Like why none of them are or why some of them look worse than last year. Like, so, like, I don't know, something's wrong with this team, this organization. I'm glad they had for years we heard the, like, oh, sit down meetings, airing it out doesn't work or whatever. But sometimes you need that, right? Like, you need to communicate and you need to have people like Tamani Kamara step up and say, like, we gotta be honest because families are honest with each other and stuff like that. So, I feel like something was wrong with this team, like the whole team, and Anfernee might be the main factor in that. Maybe he's causing the problems. I don't know, but like, I don't know, man.
Do you think his body language is bad?
I think his body language has been bad, yeah, but I don't know if that's because he's frustrated with playing bad. Like, I think he's missing like tonight. He finally gets off a screen, right? He got I think it was Klingon, sets him a beautiful screen. He's wide open for 3, has the ball rimming and out. Like, or maybe that was last game. I might be confusing the two, but like he's missed a lot of open threes this year. So like, I don't know. Like I don't know if it's frustration or what, but yeah, his body language has not been great. In terms of when he misses a shot or things like that. I
want him to lead more, too.
Yeah.
Like he's the number 1 guy offensively, right? He's the guy. I understand he's not going to be a vocal leader. He's more lead by example. But if you're not a vocal leader and you're like the number 1 option offensively and you're supposed to be the lead by example type, then your body language is even more important.
Right.
You know what I mean? I asked people that were like at the stadium, just like, how was Anfernee Simons' body language? Terrible. Like, I felt the same way, and that was part of where the frustration was. It's like, dude just has bad, like he's had bad body language, and his body language, at times to me says he's just like over it, disinterested. Like, yes, I'm reading into it maybe a little bit more than I should, but I think it's pretty clear like his body language has not been good. And if you're the leader, number 1 option, like I feel like teammates pick up on that stuff. And it's not good to have bad body language as a lead by example type of guy. So that's also where some of the frustration comes in from. Like, you can't be that mentally affected by missing shots. If you're supposed to be this legitimate scorer in this league, you can't be that bothered by missing open shots. Mm-hmm. You can't let it have that effect on you mentally. And if it has that effect on you mentally, then maybe you're just a microwave scorer, and you're not actually the guy that we were hoping you would be. Because a big part of him being the guy that both of us were hoping he could be coming into the season is having the mentality to be that guy. And with just the way he reacts to certain things, it's like, I don't like it. So I think that's some of the frustration as well.
Yeah. I completely agree about the leadership thing. Some people just don't know how to. And I guess you could grow into that. But I did see the last two games, at the beginning of the games, him talking to people, like when there was a foul or something, and like he was trying to maybe like dictate some sort of information or some sort of thing they can do better. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, you can tell he just doesn't have those leadership qualities. But it also makes me wonder why they don't try using him more off ball then, if him on the ball is a problem, you know?
Yeah, I mean, but it just seems like Chauncey wants to recreate what he had with Dame.
Did you see the Evan Turner tweet?
Yeah.
You probably didn't because you're blocked.
No, I did.
Oh, no, you can see blocked ones now.
Yeah, you can see blocked ones now. So I actually did see that tweet, yes.
Yeah. Man, that was interesting. To see Evan Turner basically call out the Blazers for, like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that tweet was, but also it's Evan Turner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Evan Turner, Simons was his rook. He has never played with any of these other guys, right? So,
yeah.
You know, he's gonna be pro Ant there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like.
I know James Yang is saying this to the people in chat who are comparing Ant and Dame. No crap, Ant is not Dame. Ant is not a top 75 player. He will never be a top 75 player. We're lucky if he's a top 75 player in the current NBA. I'd take that right now versus a top 75 player ever. So, yeah, like, yes, of course, Anfernee is not Damian Lillard. Like, Damian is we've only had like 3, maybe 4, if you count Roy prior to injuries, types of those Damian Lillard type players in our franchise history. That's 55 years of basketball. Come on, like that's a pretty high bar if we're expecting him to be Dame. Yeah. I'm not saying you are, Tori.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had that infamous stream, you know what I mean, which kind of sparked.
Well, I mean,
I was always like, we should not buy into Dame saying, oh, he can be my 1B to my 1A or Dame 2.0 stuff. Like, it just was way too early.
I mean, a year after that, when Dame was traded, he had that whole paragraph about Inferno and stuff in his goodbye thing too. You know, we didn't say anything about that, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back through the plays from last game because I don't just feel that way to feel that way. We definitely disagree on what some plays were, which is fine. I think, though, if he played defense the way he did last game and this game, I think it would stand out a little bit more as, like, he's just not being active. I also think, like, he's just given so much up in terms of physical tools where, like, guys like Jalen Wells can drive and just easily score over him. And it's like, but he was there. Yeah, but, I mean, you're talking about Jalen Wells. You're talking about a second-round rookie. And
But Jalen Wells had just scored on Tamani. He had just scored over Ayton in the paint. He had just scored on Denny, too.
But the point is that happens to Anfernee a lot more, because of just his physical tools.
But it only happened once that last game.
I know, but just over the years.
Obviously.
And I think that's why I've defended his defense, because it's not it's not like he's just completely falling out of plays and completely getting lost off ball. Like, he's there. Like, he's contesting shots, but it's like his shot contests don't matter a lot of times. He's just he's just small. He just doesn't have good tools. He's not the strongest. He's not the quickest laterally. And that compounds itself into he can have possessions where he tries really hard and is maybe there, but it doesn't matter against NBA caliber scorers. And he's just always going to be a bad defender because of it, which, is fine if he's scoring the ball and doing all the other things. But when he's hurting you on both ends of the floor, then it's even more frustrating.
Yeah, this is where, I think the biggest difference this year is that, Memphis didn't have to because they were up by 45, whatever. But, I guess they were only up by 25 when Anfernee got pulled. But the problem is, you're right, and teams are hunting it more than they have in the past. So, I remember this with Blazer teams where Dame would get switched onto, a forward or whatever and shoot. For years, even before Dame, we had a Dirk Nowitzki problem where all Dallas would do is screen and then we'd switch a guard onto Dirk and he'd just stand at the free throw line and get the ball and shoot over the top of him. I agree that it's a problem, but if you have Anfernee guarding the ball more, he is still getting through screens and he is still staying in front of guys. So if he was on a smaller player or someone closer to his size, I don't think just auto switching onto Brandon Ingram 20 times a game is the right play if he's on the court. So I'm not comparing Simons to Dame. I'm saying teams hunt mismatches with smaller guards. That's just a natural thing.
Yeah, it is a natural thing. And somebody said, I've never heard complaints about Dame's lousy bottom of the league defense. He was carrying us to a top 3 offense year after year after year. If Anfernee Simons was carrying us to a top 3 offense, averaging 32 and 8 and having as much gravity as anyone in the league other than Steph Curry, then I wouldn't care about his defense. Then I could care less, because at least he could go down on the other end and have a effort lapse, and you could say, oh, well, he's probably just taking a possession off defensively because he literally has to do everything for our offense and backpack our offense. You know what I mean? But he's not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different. It's different. So that's why I hate when people criticize ASD and other people bring up Dame. It's well, it's Dame. It's a little different.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm ready to move on from this conversation. I knew we were going to get into this type of conversation given that you were not on last game's post-game show. Last game, we lose by 45, and then this game, he gets out early, and then Ayton doesn't play, and we look great. This I've never seen. I don't know if I've ever seen a game more in my life, or at least in my time covering the team with Blazers Uprise. I don't know if I've ever seen a game that has created more narratives coming out of it, or amplified narratives coming out of it.
Last game?
No, this game.
Oh, this game? Yeah.
Just because it's this team looked completely different without Ayton and without Ant. Completely different. And it's hard to ignore how much this team looked different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I don't know. Maybe they didn't sleep the night after they lost. Maybe they sat up watching film back after Chauncey said losers if you sleep tonight. Maybe I don't know what the hell happened, but we got to thank the rest of the donations. Shout out to Alvaro Bozon, one Blazers Uprise gifted membership. I don't know who that went to, Eric.
It went to Michael Kroll.
Nice. Sorry, that was an hour ago. Sorry for everybody that donated. I appreciate you guys. I definitely want to do a better job reading it off, but there's just so many conversations to be had with this one, obviously. So shout out to Marcy, 250. I don't know what that currency is, but it's 250 of something, and we like 250 of something. Says dominating without dominating. I know it's just one game, but Time Lord fits better with what we were doing right now. Even Simons is just atrocious under the system. Thank you, Marcy. Yeah, Time Lord definitely fits better. Shout out to Hail Blazers. $2 donation says, Denny blocking Ant was sick. That was a great way to put the cherry on top of this game, was Denny blocking Anthony Edwards.
Yep.
I love the way Denny played today, man. Like just good to see him go 3 for 6 from 3. That step back at the buzzer was sick. If he can start figuring it out, Eric, he's going to change the way this team looks. And his style of play fits in with the way they played today. And he will help this team play that way. The problem is if he's just taking a back seat to multiple guys and then when he has the ball has to isolate.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not his style. That's not what he functions best in. I've been saying it all season long.
So I know you were really critical of the decision to start Sharp over him. Are you more okay with it if it's more game like tonight?
You know where a lot of the criticism was? It was from they clearly valued this dude extremely highly considering they gave up 2 to 3 first-round picks worth of value for him, that it's strange that they're bringing him off the bench already.
Yeah.
Like, if they got him, and I said it in the stream, if they got him for second-round picks, I wouldn't even complain about it at all with the way he's playing, right? If they trade 1 first-round pick for him and now they're bringing him off the bench, like, okay. It was just like they gave up so much for him. And he's in a new system that obviously not working for him, and he's obviously trying to get comfortable. So there is the whole, like, okay, rolling back his role, demoting him, is that going to help him get comfortable? I don't necessarily think so. I think, he played well tonight because of the style of play, not because he was coming off the bench. Mm-hmm. Right? So it was, like, partially that, but it was more so just, like, this organization is gave up all this value for this guy, and game 11, they're already bringing him off the bench.
Yeah. See, I think that was part of the thing with the meeting too. It's like, why is Sharp getting rewarded?
Yeah.
And it's just once again that double standard. I'm not saying that Sharp, it's not important that he develops his stuff, but like, was it necessary, like his third game back, to have him starting already, or is it okay to maybe just bring that process along a little slower?
Yeah, and how'd some other guys on the team feel about that? I don't know. It's just like the whole correlation doesn't equal causation, but it's like they have their worst game of the year, the game they decide to start Sharp and bring Denny off the bench. Like it was just strange, man. And it's just like when stuff correlates so strongly, even in a small sample, you have to wonder, right? I'm not gonna say that's why at all, because it could be like it didn't have anything to do with how they played last game. But I can't deny that there's a possibility that it might have had an effect given how bad they freaking looked.
Yeah. Yep.
Shout out to Smog, $10 donation. What's up, Smog? Says, of course, Robert Williams did amazing, but this was a whole team performance. 7 guys in double digits and everyone going hard on defense. Also, like the stream, bozos. Yeah, we're almost at 100 likes, and we don't ask for likes. We let other people ask for likes for us through donations. Shout out to Smog for the $10 donation. Like the stream, we're at 84. Let's get to 100 for the Blazers win. Shout out to Chapel Perilous. 5 gifted Blazers Uprise memberships. Don't know who they went to. I just saw you asked in chat. So if anybody knows in chat, let us know in chat who those gifted memberships went to, because my chat doesn't scroll up far enough and I can't see in the.
And thank you, Chapel.
But thank you, Chapel. Appreciate you, man. You're the best. Shout out to Braden Tennis. Good to see Braden in here. $5 donation says, did y'all think this game will help Cronin to finally decide to start getting rid of some of our vets? Love y'all. Go Blazers. Thank you, Braden. This is as compelling of a case as one game could be to trade the vets.
Yeah.
You could not find a more compelling case out of one game to trade the vets than this one. And I tweeted that.
It's like all season last year. Remember how many people would tell us, oh, you can't trade the vets because we need to be competitive. Like, why can't we be competitive and trade the vets?
Yeah. I mean, I really want a Scoot, Sharp, Kamara, Avdia, Robert Williams starting lineup right now, Eric. I know it doesn't include Ant, but
that's fine.
I think that lineup would be fun, man. I think that lineup would play hard. And right now you could have Banton as that freaking 6th-man guard. And here's the thing. Banton is so up and down, he can like win you a game or shoot you out of it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. I've never seen a player more up and down. The thing is today he passed the ball and had some solid defensive possessions. And the thing is, and I tweeted this, He had 5 turnovers. How many of them were like bringing the ball up the floor? Like 3. He's not a strong enough ball handler or quick enough to handle like point guard duties against pressure. And that's kind of the problem when you pigeonhole him as the only guy bringing the ball up the floor. Like Banton should play next to Avdia probably, or next to Scoot. If you want to go with Banton at the point guard, you should at least have Avdia out there to help him out with some of that bringing the ball up the floor stuff. Because if Avdia gets pressured, he'll just blow past a dude and just barrel down the lane and take out 3 people with him. he's fun to watch when he attacks. But so 5 turnovers, but it was like him getting pressured a lot, like mishandling the ball, getting pressed to half court sort of stuff. A couple bad passes in there, of course. We have 5 assists. He had a really nice dime in transition to Robert Williams. And that's the thing is, like, Robert Williams around the floor in transition and running to the rim, not just kind of like lollygagging and trailing the play. So then they dump it off to him and they get a layup instead of backing it out because your center is at 18 feet and stops short. That's the difference between Rob, Will, and Ayton, man. Mm-hmm. But he made some nice passes and had some good defensive possessions, blocked a 3. Like, when he's doing other stuff, then I can handle like him having inefficient nights a little bit easier. But when he does other stuff and then he starts freaking 4 for 4 from 3, like, I mean, that's a freaking phenomenal player. And that's the upside of Delano Banton, I guess, is when he has it going, he can be as good as maybe anybody on this team. It's just when he doesn't have it going, he's probably the worst player on the team, and you don't know what you're going to get on a night in, night out basis.
Yeah. Hey, did you this is a complete side note. Did you see the play where Chauncey came on the court and pushed Denny into the right position?
No, I didn't.
That was hilarious. Denny was like up near the bench, obviously, but he was like coming up, and Chauncey grabbed him and pushed him like into the corner.
Yeah.
Like, get off the court, Chauncey.
Raymond Falk says I wouldn't say worst player. Dude, last game he was 4 for 18 and played bad defense and didn't pass. And it was in, 20-something minutes? When he's not making shots, he's still going to take a ton of shots. And he's prone to some awful shooting nights. Yeah, he shot 18 times in 20 minutes last game and was 4 for 18. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. That's
most
impressive.
of the game was garbage time.
Yeah, but still,
he does have games like that.
He'll have games where he just shoots time after time after time and just brick after brick after brick. It doesn't pass, just gets tunnel vision. Then his defense is lackluster. Yes, he on one night he can be the best player on the team, and then on another night he can be the worst player on the team. That's not an over exaggeration at all. Eric Olson says Torrey Banton is our wild card. Absolutely, man. Absolute wild card. Shout out to, let's see here, we're almost caught up. Shout out to Alvaro Bazan, member for 14 months. Says Kamara's and Rob's double teams were fire tonight on D. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, putting length on the ball. Wow, that works. No way.
One of my favorite defensive possessions was when, Avdia, it was like a broken transition type of possession. But Julius Randle has the ball, tries to go at Avdia, gets, stifled by Avdia. I don't remember exactly what happened, loose ball or something or whatever. Somehow, Kamara then gets switched on to Randle. And then Randle tries again to just put his head down and, run through Kamara. And Kamara just stands in there, takes an elbow to the face. And then, I don't know if it was Denny or someone else, but I think it was, Denny, caught him as he was, falling back. And it was, those two dudes together, that was a fun possession. Do you know what possession I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, dude just standing in, taking this freaking bowling ball behemoth of a man, trying to literally truck them as if he's trying to, as if it's a halfback dive at the goal line. And just standing in there and just walling up and manning up. And not backing down from that was just beautiful, man, because it's been a while since we've had 2 forwards that are like that. No offense to Jeremy Grant. He was good tonight in other areas. Didn't shoot the greatest, was 5 for 15, but that makes our good shooting night even more impressive. But, most nights, or maybe every night, if Julius Randle is driving at him like that, he's shying away from it defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And, trying to block the shot, but, opening up the door and just trying to avoid the contact. Those guys just stood in there hard-nosed and took it. Don't clip that. Anyway. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And the shout to Tristan Klein, $5 donation, says, do you guys think that the 76ers would be interested in Grant? I think they would be very interested and desperate and would have pieces for the trade. Thank you, Tristan, for the $5 donation. I don't know how they match salary.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that could use Grant, but it's a weird, because a team like Philly, who used up all their cap space on one player and then signed a bunch of players to smaller contracts, it's hard to then match salary unless you're trading away one of your big players. So I don't see any way they could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, they could probably piece together like a 6-for-1 type of trade, but yeah.
They're in trouble, man. I know that. Yeah. See, the thing is people like 2-8 looks so bad, but they're only 6 games below 500, and they just got made the playoffs. They've been injured.
I forgot what it was, but like someone, I think it was Indiana, was 5-5, and they were tied for third in the East, and Dallas was 5-5, and they were like 11th or something in the West.
You know who's tied for third? You know who's third in the East right now? Take a wild guess. You could probably have like 7 guesses and probably not get it right.
I think it's Detroit.
Nope.
Are they 500 now?
They're 5-7.
Oh, 5-7. Okay. I don't know.
You get 7 guesses.
7 guesses?
7 guesses.
I didn't see any of the scores tonight. So.
I know. Well, that's why I don't think you could get it, because that's the thing. It's like one team wins and it moves them up 7 spots right now.
Oh, yeah, I just mentioned. Oh, is it? Oh no, they didn't win tonight. Is it Brooklyn?
Brooklyn right now is 5-6, and they're in 6th place.
Nice.
Half a game behind third.
Is it the Hawks?
Hawks are 5-7. 1 game behind third, just like Detroit. They're in tied for 7th with Detroit.
I mean, people are saying Magic in chat. I thought that was the first team I thought of, but I didn't think that would be that wouldn't be that surprising if they were third. So I thought you were.
I got you. You wouldn't have been able to guess it in 7 times because you wouldn't have guessed them, because I made it seem like it wasn't them. Well, they were having such a bad start to the season, then lose Paulo. Like,
yeah,
it felt like they were in a really bad spot, but they're fine standings wise right now. They're in third. That's the thing with the Bucks. The Bucks win tonight. They're 2.5 games out of third place, and they're 3-8. The Sixers are 3 games out of third place. The Raptors at 2-10 are 4 games out of third place. The Blazers right now would be 2 games out of third place in the East. Right now, they're 2.5 games out of 10th place in the West. The only teams worse than the Blazers right now, New Orleans and Utah. You got Dallas and San Antonio at 5-6, tied 11th and 12th.
Maybe that's what Desmond Ballard meant. We'd be top 4 in the East if we were in the East.
Yeah, top 4 in the East, or top 4 at the if you sort by the loss column in the West, and put most losses at the top. Then we're top 4. But 4-8, 4-8 for the Blazers. But they win today, and they would be half a game behind a play in the East. The East is strange right now. The East is strange. The West is also kind of strange. You got like a top 3 with Phoenix, OKC, Golden State right now, and then a couple games back you got Denver, Houston, Memphis. LA's 6-4. Dallas has struggled. They're 5-6. They've lost 3 in a row, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like a good team's gonna miss the play-in. Like, because out of that top 11, I mean, I assume it's going to be the Clippers that fall into that 11th spot, but they've been okay. Could it be you got Minnesota and Dallas there in the Western Conference Finals. Minnesota's 6-5. They just lost to us by 14. And Dallas is 5-6. So the West seems like it has some parity. Houston's look good. Houston is going to be the NBA Cup game that is going to be toughest for the Blazers. So as far as their schedule goes, Their next NBA Cup game is Friday the 22nd. Friday the 22nd. So a week and a half, and that's at Houston. Eric, if the Blazers win
Play
that
them
game,
back to back.
yeah, we play them back to back, just like we played Timberwolves back to back. But if the Blazers win that game, then it's real. Then they really have a chance at winning their pool. If they lose that game and is close, maybe they still have a chance. They'd have to win the last two for sure. But like, if they win that game, then we're cooking. Because then you got at home versus Sacramento and on the road at the Clippers, and we've already beat the Clippers on the road. Like, that's the game, man. I am looking forward to that NBA Cup game. See, without the NBA Cup, like, this wouldn't be as fun. And I know some people didn't like the idea of it, but this is fun for us after a win like tonight. We're 1-0 in the Cup standings.
Hey, what'd you think of the court? What did Chad think of the court? I thought it was cool.
I loved it. We can grade it. I'll do A, B, C, and then D or F. Grade the Blazers court tonight.
It almost looked like they were playing on cement.
I know.
Like outside on the playground. But I thought it was cool.
I would grade it an A. I would give it an A.
Yeah, I'll probably give it an A too. I wish we could have a cool regular court.
I know.
Tori, do you have any trains by your new house?
No, we don't.
Yeah.
You can like, if it's all quiet and you open a window, you can like barely hear I-5.
Okay.
Because I'm like.
Because Trevin asked whose
train
is going. Yeah, like you haven't been watching for 5 years, Trevin.
Come on, Trevin. Yeah, I am like a mile away from I-5, but you can hear it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, about exactly a mile actually from I-5. I didn't realize you could hear like I-5 being a mile away from it, but just makes me happy I don't live closer. But Esther Court, we got 76% of people saying A and 21% saying B, and then 5% hated it, saying D or F. Which, you know, there's always that 5% that hates everything.
Too busy or what? Too like.
It's better than last year.
I'm guessing if you hated it, you hate like you just hate all the courts for this.
Yeah, but like do something unique, man. I like it. You know what, Eric? They should have that rose design, but just do it in like the normal hardwood color. You know how like the New Orleans has that? You can still paint the key too. Like, do that. That'd be sick. And that'd be something that would be like ours.
Yep.
Boston's
also
is ugly. Yeah, well their court was green. So it's just the colored court like that is strange.
Also kind of wish we had a special jersey for it, not the same one as last year.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are our special jerseys, man? Where are our special jerseys? Anyway, people love the court, which is cool. It was nice to see Tamani get back on track. He struggled in the past couple of games. Nice to see him get a shot back on track. Defensively, he was everywhere today. He was really, really good defensively. Anthony Edwards today. You know, Anthony Edwards is still going to get his, especially after this, like, 3-point shooting improvement, but it just felt a little quieter. 26 points, only 3 assists, so he's not creating as much on average for other guys. He's 8 for 19. Like, that's I feel like Kamara, when he was on him, really made him work for his buckets. I feel like how many of those threes were him cleanly coming off a screen? Naz Reid is the guy who killed us, 10 for 17, 4 for 8 from 3. And the thing is like, Naz Reid is the type of big that I think Klingon will possibly always struggle with. Somebody that can stretch it out to 3 and has a quick release and then can put the ball on the floor if he closes out. Klingon struggled with that even in college. McDaniel's 8 for 10. So he got some buckets in the flow of things. But like everybody else for them, pretty much no impact. DiVincenzo in 18 minutes had 3 points on 1 for 3 from 3 and 4 turnovers. Like, he was a complete no-show. They only played 8 guys, basically. Josh Minot played 2 minutes. Julius Randle, 3 for 9, 4 turnovers, 5 fouls. Like, he was a complete non-factor. And, it was just a good team effort on Randall after he killed us from 3 that first matchup. So that was better. And then Gobert, 2 for 3. He's not known as a scorer or anything, but they didn't let him get anything. Conley 2 for 5. Like, they just didn't force 21 turnovers.
What did the Blazers finish with? I know they only had 2 in the first half, I think.
2 what?
Turnovers?
No, they had at least 7. They said 7 at one point in the first half. They had 19 turnovers.
20, it says.
Yeah. But on 30 assists, that's more acceptable than if they're playing stagnant basketball, turning it over.
Yeah.
And how many of those turnovers were like late in the game? Also, it felt like those turnovers came in spurts where they start to fall apart and then they would like respond well. And I really liked that. Because we've seen games start to go off the rails and then they completely go off the rails and this team gives up like a 20-point lead in 4 minutes, 5 minutes. And this team just completely fall apart. Or they're up 10 and then they're down 10 in like 5 minutes. And it was just the fact that they like every single time it seemed like that was about to happen, they came back out with big plays and good offensive possessions. We're not used to that.
Right. Yeah, and Minnesota isn't great in points in the paint, and Rudy Gobert not scoring much this year isn't a big reason for that, but held them under their seasonal average of 44 points in the paint. They only had 40 tonight. I think that helps too.
Kept them off the offensive glass, only 4 offensive rebounds. Would you look at that, Eric? Instead of this being a game where Ayton has 15 rebounds, yet they have 12 offensive rebounds, instead it's, Klingon had 6, Robert Williams had 9. They only had 4 offensive rebounds. That's why I say you can't just judge somebody like Ayton off his like, oh, he had 15 rebounds in this game, he must have rebounded well. Because what I care about is the percentage of defensive rebounds you're collecting. If you're getting 15 defensive rebounds because you're just going after uncontested rebounds, maybe stealing them from teammates, whatever, or just getting uncontested rebounds in the flow of things, but you're giving up a bunch of offensive rebounds, your rebounding is not that good. The whole point of defensive rebounding is to not let them get the ball back, to not let them get an offensive rebound. So I like the dudes that'll box out, put a body on someone, and collect a board. And Klingon does that. Robert Williams does that. Avdia had a great box out on Gobert today. I know it's just a box out, but like against a dude that big, that's why I like Avdia, is because he's strong and big enough to like actually battle a little bit with a guy like that. They controlled the glass, and this is a big Minnesota team. Like Gobert in 33 minutes did not get a single offensive rebound. That's impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
I wonder what they were ranked going into this game. I'll look what they were ranked in terms of offensive rebounding. What else stood to you, like maybe statistically or in other players?
I felt like we just did a really good job of rotating tonight, and that's something that I haven't really been able to say for a long time.
Yeah.
But outside of Reed getting loose, Conley, I think, missed a couple open threes, but for the most part, I thought we did a good job of flying out on shooters and closing out hard.
Yeah. Minnesota's ranked 19th in offensive rebound percentage this season. Wow. I thought they'd be a better offensive rebounding team than that. They were 22nd last year. They just seem like they would because of how big they are. But it's still good to hold a team to 4 offensive rebounds. That's really good. Blazers were 3rd last year for reference, 7th this year in offensive rebounding. Yeah, we might for a stream, maybe tomorrow, assuming they bounce back and beat us tomorrow, which I don't care. It's not an NBA Cup game. We can look through some advanced metrics, compare them to last year, because I think we have enough of a sample size to identify changes of trends there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Grant got to the line 10 times today. So he's 5 for 15, but got to the line 10 times. The 8 assists with 3 turnovers in the defense. Like, I can handle this version of Jeremy Grant, Eric. He shot some awful shots. There was one where he was like tripping for 6 steps and then decided to just chuck it against the backboard.
Why does he always shoot those?
I don't
He'd never
freaking know, man. Like, he thinks he's going to get a foul call, but he never does. Like, why when he stumbles, he has to chuck the ball at the backboard is beyond me.
Yeah.
But
he's getting those 3-point fouled.
I feel like, is shooting a higher percentage on and one threes this year than he is on open threes.
Well, your percentage would be 100% on and one threes.
No, I just mean like
no,
if you counted, true. But like if you counted it as a miss for the ones that he didn't make,
right?
He has not made open threes this year. He was shooting 33% going into this game. Was 2 for 5 today, but it's just the little stuff, man. Just play defense and try and make the right play. And he tried to make the right play more. He had the lob he had to Robert Williams where he like faded away and it was like, oh, here comes a contested floater, and instead he just like lobs it to Robert Williams. It was like just do that more. Do that more, man. Like, I didn't know you could see that pass. So the lobs he had were good, man. I mean, Jeremy Grant would be a much better player if he passed like this more and just tried to make the right read and played defense like he did tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he's 5 for 15, and this might have been my favorite game of his from this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like the little stuff.
Yeah.
Klingen's first start, what'd you think?
Oh, I thought he did fine. It's cool seeing him block Gobert on the first shot. Or was it Gobert or was it someone else? He got a block shot his first play of the game. Yeah, I thought he had an impact. He still has to learn how to not foul as much as he does. He keeps dropping his arms instead of going vertical. But that's why I want him to get these minutes so he can learn those kind of things. And I thought he had a nice impact on the game. There were a couple times where it's obvious that when Minnesota player drove, they were watching to see where he was. And Robert Williams might maybe start to get that too if he shows he's healthy, because he has great timing on his block shots. But Klingen's just a force, man. It's interesting watching him affect the game, even if he's not even involved in a play, really, just based on his presence in there. And he's still, I don't know, I don't know, in like playoff series and stuff like that, especially if it was right now. Luckily, it won't happen right now, but just using it as an example, I still think they hunt him in a pick and roll a lot. Just to see what he does, and if he starts playing out more, I think he's gonna be less effective if he gets pulled away from the hoop. And so I'm kind of worried about that long term, but overall, I think right now, you just got to keep improving. And I do like how much he hustled, and he didn't necessarily grab a ton of offensive rebounds, but he like tipped enough of them, or like got his hand on him, or draws a foul or something. He just does some of those little things that Robert Williams does. Obviously, not to the extent that a vet like Rob Williams does, who's had been on some really good teams in the NBA at least. Obviously, Klingen was on some good teams in college. But yeah, I like how he plays. It's just, I don't think I'm ever really concerned about him being in the game.
Yeah, he's just the type of guy that figures out how to have an impact, or at the very least figures out how to not hurt his team. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He's the type of guy, like, he's going to make mistakes as a rookie, but they're the type of mistakes you can live with, and he plays hard. Like, it's kind of baseline stuff, but he's a rookie. And bigs normally take some time to get their feet underneath them in the league. And he's being put in a lot of defensive situations where he's fouling, but it's situations that he can learn from. And it's guys attacking him in a way that he didn't get attacked in college because it's the NBA. So he needs to be put in those challenging defensive situations in the league to be able to figure out how to effectively defend at the highest level without fouling. So it's like, yeah, it's frustrating when he has 5 fouls in 21 minutes, but it's like, okay, he's trying to lunge to block a shot when a dude's coming at him. Because here's the thing, in college, a lot of times guys would shy away, so he could actually just like step towards them to block shots, or like he was the guy to make up the space in order to block a shot or have a defensive impact. But there's times,
well, you can also just stand by the rim and wait for.
yeah, but like guys shied away from him so much. Like there was so many blocks where he's like stepping through the block, so to say. But like in the league, guys are attacking at him, and he'll still like try and step towards them, and it's just an automatic foul every time. So he'll learn that sort of stuff, and then like hand placement, verticality stuff, he'll figure it out. So that's why I want to play him as many minutes as he played today. He played 21 minutes. I think he was capable of playing a little bit more. He is fine playing 21 minutes a game, especially when it's like. I said I wanted to see the starting lineup with like Rob Wills as starting center, but if they want to start clinging just so they stagger his minutes like they did today, where he plays like 6 minutes at the start of the first quarter, then like 5 minutes at the start of the second quarter, and you can give him 11 minutes a half and 22 minutes a game and like stagger him that way, you're keeping him fresh enough where he's not going to be completely winded, but you're also giving him enough minutes to hopefully get him in shape at the same time. I think there's a good balance there.
Yeah, I did think about that during the game. At one point, he came in, played like 5 minutes or something, and then came in and played like the last 5 minutes of a quarter or half or something. And I was like, that's a perfect way to play him.
Yep. Absolutely. Scoot, man. Scoot's three-point percentage is finally above 30%.
Nice.
He is now 11 for 35 on the season. He was 2 for 2 today. That is 31.4%.
Let's go.
Yeah. He was also 0 for 5 opening night. So if you want to take that out, he's 11 for his last 30, which is 36.7%. You still count the opening night day. But basically, since that 0 for 5 opening night, he's been fine as a three-point shooter. He's hit some catch-and-shoot looks, which is nice to see. His finishing is better.
I like that he's not shooting a ton right now. He's
picking his spots, man. He's picking his spots much better. But, like, some of the finishes he had today are, like, stuff he had no hope of making last year. His finishing, like, eye test looks better numbers-wise. Like, I don't know the exact rim finishing percentage, but it has to be better just based on his shooting numbers. And, like, that backhand finish he had today, that one where it explode to the rim, where it was, like, the opportunity to explode to the rim. Also, it's just, like, with a big that rolls hard, I think, it's a threat with him and Robert Williams coming downhill at you compared to, like, Ayton stopping short and defenses being able to rotate hard onto Scoot. I think that's part of the reason why he's played better without DeAndre Ayton in the game. And just a team that's, like, playing with this energy and kind of, like, flowing and trying to push the ball up the court, because I think the Blazers did a good job of, like, trying to. Minnesota did a decent job of getting back, but the Blazers, when they had their chances, definitely took them. It's just going to be better for him getting comfortable, and it fits his style of play. Like, I talk about, like, playing the winning style of basketball fits these guys' style of play more. Here's the thing, like, when the Blazers do the crap offensively that they do, I think it makes it harder on pretty much everyone that's not somebody that wants to play out of isolation all the time. And that's like Scoot, that's Tamani. I think that even goes down to guys like Sharp, Grant can have times where he thrives on it because he loves to ISO. You know what I mean? Like, he loves having the ball in his hands. So it's fine for him. But for a lot of these other guys, it's like the style of play being as wonky and as bad as it is, I don't think is necessarily good for them playing well. Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why guys just look better. Obviously we made a bunch of threes, but guys look better driving to the rim today. Scoot looked good driving to the rim today. Had some impressive finishes. And you can tell, like, last year we were talking about, man, he just seems to have a touch issue. I don't feel that way right now with his finishing.
Yeah. It's definitely better. I think the threat of the clinging Robert Williams lob too, just it keeps that center, just that split second decision he has to make. And I think Scoot's doing a good job of knowing when to shoot it and when to throw it up for a lob or to kick it out. I just think the decision making overall is a little better this year.
Yeah, He's averaging 2.7 turnovers per month. So he was 3.2 turnovers in October, 2.7 so far in November. So, cleaning things up a little bit. His assists are down a little bit. He seems to be playing more off the ball this month, which is interesting. He has had a couple rough shooting nights, but there's just a lot more nights at like 5 for 12, 6 for 14, 6 for 9 tonight. You'll take that for sure. And like that Memphis game, he didn't shoot the ball well. He had 8 assists on 3 turnovers. I also think his defense has been better this year. Like on-ball defense has been better. He's been more competitive. He had 3 steals today.
That one he had was impressive in the backcourt where he saved the ball out of bounds. That was a great play.
Yeah, great hustle, man. Great hustle. You love to see that from Scoot.
Yeah, the only thing he's really going to have to watch out for is he's fouling way too much. He's got to find a way to limit that. Today is a perfect opportunity to play a whole ton of minutes. He still played a lot, but getting those 3 fouls in the first half was kind of a bummer.
He only played 21 minutes today,
Yeah.
So with Ant out, should he start or should Denny start?
I think you need a true point guard.
Yeah.
I would start Scoot.
If Ant is out for any period of time, you let this be a chance for Scoot to take the reins of the offense with the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is if Aiton's back, it's going to be playing more with Aiton, right? But we need to trade Aiton, man. Honestly, if I was in charge of this team and just could have my way, I would make Aiton the 3rd string center.
Oh, wow. He'd take that so well.
Oh, he'd hate that. He'd hate that. But then we can do the whole PJ Tucker where, okay, he can be away from the team if he wants, and we will figure out a resolution. And hopefully I'm a multi-billionaire, and I'll be like, I'll pay you just to be away from the team. I mean,
I know that happened with like Ben Simmons and James Harden and stuff, but it's hard to imagine a player making a max that's not as good as those players.
I know. But does he really want to play, or does he only kind of want to play?
I don't know.
I don't know. But like Scoot should start. This is a chance to take the reins and then give him more minutes and give him some time with Aiton and time with Robert Williams / Klingon and see what it looks like. And just compare it on a game-to-game basis. Is that really that big of a difference maker for Scoot? And our guards in general. Like, Aiton clears no space for them off pick and rolls. None. And then doesn't roll hard to the rim. Aiton is actually a terrible pick and roll big man. On both sides of the floor, actually. The pick and roll is such a big part of the game, and he's a terrible pick and roll big man, offensively and defensively. Am I wrong?
No.
Pick and roll is an inefficient play overall. We should mostly just stop running it. I don't agree with that. I don't know what if you have any stats that back that up, but if you can run it effectively, you can break things down, get the defense in rotation, and get good shots like later on in the possession because of it. Like pick and roll, you don't need to mostly stop running pick and roll. End of a shot clock, that's like the only thing you can set up that can create an advantage outside of a one-on-one if you're not in something. Like, but that's the thing, you gotta be able to run it effectively. So let's have a Scoot should be able to thrive off pick and roll if he has a dude like Robert Williams next to him.
Yeah. Did you see I think it was an NBA University post a day or two ago. It was like most frequent pick and rolls this year and then points per possession on those.
Yeah. and it was like Dame was number 1, but then like Ant was number 2, which is crazy.
No,
Given,
no, I think Ant was like 6th or something. I think
are you
Dame
sure
was
he was like
10th or
above
something.
1 point per possession?
Oh, you're talking about the. I'm just talking.
Oh,
So
the
it was
frequency, yeah. I
it
just
was
mean in terms
listed
of
by
like points per
volume, but
possession.
yeah,
Yeah.
then yeah, like it was like I think Ant was 3rd behind Luca and
Yeah.
Dame.
But like the points per possession for all those guys, did you notice it was down a lot? Like this
Yeah,
season, pick and rolls are
but
definitely less efficient.
I was just thinking like, okay, Ant's playing about as bad as you can play. He's got a horrible pick and roll partner who doesn't set good screens, and yet he's like basically right there with some of the things. It's like that's why I'm like, God, if you could just figure out how to play basketball again, he's probably like it could be in a really good position right now. You know?
Yeah, figure out how to play basketball again, but then also like buy into this style of basketball a little bit more, and actually like try and do a better job, like having good body language, leading this team. That's what I want to see from Ant. That's what I'm challenging Ant with whenever he returns. Hopefully for his sake is soon, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I do feel like he doesn't want to be here. And I said that last offseason. And
Hmm.
that might not be true. Um, there's just with the body language and times of him seeing completely like checked out with his comments in the exit interviews last year and all that stuff, and it's like we're clearly valuing two younger guards behind him. Like, would it surprise you if he wanted out? I don't think it would surprise anybody if he didn't want to be here. So, you know, we can argue on like how likely that is that he doesn't. It's just like, okay, well, if you're here though. And you playing bad is not going to help your trade value. If you don't want to be here, you should play better.
What? Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. Like you can't say you don't want to be on a losing team and then be one of the main reasons your
Yeah,
team's losing. You know?
yeah, yeah. So absolutely. So I mean, he needs to come back. He needs to play better whenever that is. And I the thing is like, is he as good of a lob passer as Scoot? No. But like in a game like this with Robert Williams pick and rolls, is he throwing those lobs to Robert Williams? Because he just hasn't
Oh.
seemed like much of a lob thrower, but also he
Did
hasn't
it,
necessarily played next to lob threats.
he did have a game last week where he completed 3 lobs to Aiton in one game.
Yeah.
I thought that was a small miracle.
Oh, well, yeah. Boy, it has moments where he rolls hard. I don't know. Like, is Ant really a lob thrower like that on the pick and roll? I feel like he hasn't gotten to play next to enough of a lob target or guy that rolls hard enough consistently to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But like this, you could just see the seams that we had that we were able to drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of those seams came off good screens. Some of them came off like the roll man drawing attention. Some of them came off a kick out pass and then attacking the closeout. A lot of them came off of getting the defensive rotation in swings, moving the ball, and not stopping the ball. And that's the thing where it's like, okay, if Ant receives a kick out pass and the right place to immediately swing the ball, is he going to immediately swing the ball? That's the question. I don't have a definitive answer. It's just like, okay, how bought into is he going to be in terms of like playing in the flow of things to the point where like he gets the ball kicked out to him, he might be able to shoot a somewhat contested 3, but he's going to trust the next guy to immediately just swing it without thinking about it. Because if you stop and pause and try and survey and like think about shooting it and then you swing it, it's too late. So that's where when he's back, the Blazers need to build upon the style of play, and they need to try and figure out a way to get their veterans to play the style of play. And as we said at the start of the stream, if they don't, then you hold them accountable. Then,
Yeah. Don't play.
yeah. Yep. Like, if these guys come back and it looks back to crap, I mean, it's tough to ignore. But, I mean, Chauncey, you're coaching for your job. What do you have to lose? Is it Joe Cronin telling you to play these dudes 35 minutes a game so he can try and trade them?
We're specifically told that does not happen.
Yeah, but do we believe it?
No. Not at all.
So maybe it's not even a Chauncey issue. Maybe it's a Joe Cronin issue. Maybe it's a Burt Cold issue for all we know. I don't freaking know. Maybe Chauncey's just the scapegoat.
Maybe.
Comment says, Anfernee needs to be running off ball and getting his man peeled off screens. He's a great finisher and shooter when he has space. I just don't think it works if he's got the opponent's best defender isolating. Absolutely agree. The problem is with Chauncey, though, is if he draws something up like that, it's like the only option on a set, and then if it doesn't work, then Ant has to ISO. That's the problem with Chauncey's play design. But he doesn't even have enough of that in the first place, so that's definitely a criticism of Chauncey.
For sure.
Elizabeth Allen says there's a solid Thanksgiving break, though. Teams that don't go to the Vegas in the tourney are off December 18th or December 8th to the 19th. That's not true. They would have 2 games in that span.
Yeah, they just aren't scheduled until you know which 8 teams are in there.
Yeah. Yep. Same way they did it last year. So the Blazers, if they don't make the bracket part, the schedule, and this is like judging it based off last year, they'd play Sunday, December 8th at the Lakers. Then they'd have a Cup consolation game Wednesday, December 12th. So that'd be 2 days off, then a Wednesday game. Then another 2 days off and a Saturday game, Cup consolation on December 15th. And then 4 days off. And then they would play next on the 19th. Or maybe that's 3 days off. I'm not sure. 16, 17, 18. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I messed up a date here on our schedule.
Yeah. And I think this little break we have coming up with 1 game in 6 days will be good for us too.
Yeah.
Especially if we win tomorrow night. If we can win tomorrow night, I'm not expecting that, but like, you get some good practice time in. Only have 1 game.
Yeah.
Get some rest.
Yeah. So it'd be Sunday, December 8th, then Thursday, December 12th. So there'd be 3 days off there, and then 2 days off to the 15th, and then another 3 days off. So, yeah, that's 2 games in like a week and a half, which will be nice, man. Like, listen, as streamers, we need our breaks, right? I'm looking forward to, after Wednesday's game, the Blazers have 3 days off. Then they play Sunday, and that's not even a late game. That's a 3 p.m. tip-off. Then they have 2 more days off. Tomorrow, I'm expecting the Timberwolves team to win, but tomorrow we got a lot of stuff to tend to. Because I've been saying giveaway day was supposed to be Sunday, supposed to be today. Didn't expect a win today. And with as much that as long as we've been streaming, probably going to push it to tomorrow. But we will for sure do it tomorrow. We got a couple of you in chat right now that we're spinning that giveaway wheel for. And then if you guessed close to the stats posts that we've been doing on social media, just stay tuned. I will probably message you tomorrow when I have the time to tally that up. For tonight, it was guessing Donovan Klingen's stats with him getting the first start, so we'll see who was closest there. But yeah, we're definitely got to do giveaway stuff tomorrow, giveaway wheel, and call-ins as well tomorrow. So it's going to be a double dose. Ooh. Make it interesting considering this is the 3rd freaking game against this team in 4 games. Right? Mm-hmm. So we get to see if this team looks like utter crap tomorrow, or maybe they play well. It's like a perfect time for a call-in night.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blaze Nug says you guys are savages for streaming so late. Eric is a savage because he wakes up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever. He doesn't sleep. So, and I'm a savage for, dude. My eyes do not look good, Eric. After we got off that stream Friday, I drank a little more.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the bottle and I was like, wait, it's 35% alcohol.
Yeah.
It was bad. I was so hungover on Saturday, and I had to like take stuff to the dump, like old furniture. Um, yeah, I literally like popped blood vessels around my eyes and in my eyes from throwing up Friday
Oh,
night.
that's funny.
I had a fun
I
stream
was,
though. I don't remember like
yeah.
any of it.
Really? I,
I remember I was gassing up Stephen Vaughn. But I do that sober
wait,
anyway. That's my guy.
our stream turned into like an old school stream. We were just talking about whatever for a long time. It was fun.
I I need to watch back that stream. But I'm kind of scared too because I remember it
I
being
don't.
like an old school stream, but I don't remember. I remember there's a couple little shots in there, and
Yeah.
not the drinking kind. We're firing shots. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If you guys were there for that stream.
I don't. I don't think he said anything like bad.
No, no. I mean, even if I was wasted, I don't think I'd say anything bad. I'm a happy dude when I'm wasted.
I was like the perfect drunk. Like I was like tipsy, but not like sick drunk.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, woke up next morning, was fine. So yeah, it was almost perfect.
Yep. It was fun, man. It was fun. I feel like to a certain point, if I'm like tipsy to slightly drunk, I actually think more clearly. But that's definitely just the inhibitions going out the window, right?
Hmm.
So it's, like my mind slows down enough where I like everything is clear in my mind. If that makes sense, because my mind runs a million miles an hour. That's how I was able to come on the solo stream, and just like talk nonstop without a breath for as long as I did, dude. Like, because my mind,
Yeah.
that's how my mind works, man. It's all over the place, and it's always firing, and it gets exhausting. It gets stressful during the day. But it's a gift and a curse. It's a gift and a curse. I'll be watching the second half, like working on graphics, because I still haven't gotten this bottom ticker coded. So this is all like I'm doing every freaking graphic for that, and I'm just like fired. I don't know, multitasking too much, that sort of thing. But yeah, no, it was a fun stream, and we'll do that again. And this time I'm gonna stop. I actually got a Blazer shot glass. I forgot to bring it in here to show it off, but I got a Blazer shot glass this time, so that'll help.
Nice.
Because the thing is, I was pouring like 1.5 shots,
Yeah.
so I had like 5 to 6. And then after that, I probably had another like 5.
Nice.
So if I threw up off 11 shots of 35% alcohol, does that make me a lightweight? I don't know the math. I don't think I'm a lightweight because that seems like a lot. Am I a middleweight? Am I a heavyweight? Chat, like, what's the math calculation there? Lightweight for not knowing your limit. I didn't go past my limit. Who says throwing up has to be a limit? Eric, you didn't even say anything stupid. Eric
I
Olson
didn't?
says, yeah, you didn't say anything stupid.
Wow.
He made it sound like a surprising thing, though.
Eggs.
11-ish is
Yeah.
not lightweight. Let's go. I beat the allegations, Eric. That was my only goal.
Do I normally say stupid stuff? I guess maybe.
Dang, you still live. Okay, well, Allison's surprised we're still live, so it's time to end the stream. Anything else, Eric?
Allison, it's like 3 in the morning where you live. What the heck?
Yeah, dang, you still up.
Or are you waking up already? Dolly Parton? What?
By the way, before we get out of here, you remember the Blazers were plus 4,000 to win their pool on BetUS? plus 4,000. And you remember how we were saying, honestly, with the bonus that they give out, like, that would be a pretty fun bet, especially if they win this first game against the Timberwolves. Well, if any of you got in on that, those odds, I mean, are looking pretty good for being plus 4,000 considering they just beat the Timberwolves. And it's to win their pool. It's not to win the whole tournament. It's to win their pool.
Yeah.
They can go 3-1 and win their pool because they won this game by 14. I wish the point differential was a little bit more, but they beat the Timberwolves by 14. It wasn't like they won by 1 or 2. So it's a good point differential. So it's going to be very tough, but they have a chance. And at plus 4,000 with the bonus, the BetUS bonus, that's pretty good. Tomorrow, because I think the lines are down for that considering games just happened. But tomorrow they should be up, and we should be able to see what the updated odds are for them winning the pool, which will be really interesting to see. Like, are they like a plus 2,000 now? Are they maybe even higher than that? How much do their odds go up?
Aeromancer says no chance they're winning the pool.
No shot. No chance. I disagree. If they can beat the Timberwolves, they have at least a shot, okay? This is the hardest game of them all.
I would take $100 to win 4,000 right now.
Yeah. And then 150% bonus, so it'd be like $100 to win 10,000 if you use the bonus. Because 150%.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do my math right? Yeah, 4,000. So it's like 2.5. Because with the $100 deposit, you get $150 on top of that. So it's 2.5 times 4,000. Yeah, that's plus 10,000 basically with the bonus. That's pretty good odds, man. They won this game. So if they can beat Houston, it's real. If they can beat Houston on Friday, it's real. I am going into that game like it's a playoff game, Eric. I don't even if they play like trash between now and then. That is our playoffs now. We wanted to have a playoff game again. Well, that's what we get. Okay? I don't know if that's fun or sad, but that's how I'm approaching it. Anyway, anything else, Eric?
No, thanks everyone for watching. It's been a fun stream. Appreciate you all. Hope to see you again back tomorrow night.
Yep. Shout out BetUS. Shout out to you guys for hanging out with us. Shout out to everybody that donated. This was a fun stream, man. I wish we had more streams like this. I wish we were a good team. So we could have more streams like this. Anyway. Have a good rest of your nights. And we will catch you tomorrow with the same freaking game. But, it's not NBA Cup, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Call-in night is tomorrow, so join our Discord if you want to call into the show. Also, giveaway wheels tomorrow. And that'll be fun. We'll have a fun stream tomorrow no matter what. And I'm looking forward to it. And then we only have one game in 6 days. So we'll enjoy that also. Anyway, have a good rest of your night. We're out here. Until next time. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.